In other words, looking at the first quarter that has gone, because we are starting off the second quarter now, he's done since May 29th till this moment, he's done one quarter, and you're saying that there shouldn't be any kind of excuse for some slow start because they already have some working document to run with.
Even as you mentioned it in terms of a quarter, it has also hit me. Because we're looking at 3 months and just looks like it's 3 days or 3 weeks. There are a lot of documents to work with. It's for you to decide what to adopt. But what happens most times, people come in and they say, no, stop everything. We have to show we are in charge. These documents were produced by Nigerians, some of who will end up in this administration. Nigerian resources, particularly time, not just the money, time. Those resources were invested in producing this document. There must be something in those documents you could use. So I was saying in 2 months before you assumed office, another 3 months in office, we could have done a little better than we are doing.
Mr. I'm still trying to, because first of all, it would seem that you're saying that the excuse for the delay first of all, that excuse is an excuse in the very first instance and it doesn't fly. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
If you're saying
absolutely. If you want to run for president.
Just a moment.
Yes,
if you say that it doesn't fly, and then you said that there are lots of documents that have been issued, and that, these documents take thinking, and you have to go through these documents, how can we then say it doesn't fly if he says that what I have been doing the last couple of months is to look through this document and see what it is that I can make out of it so that I can continue from where it stopped?
It will seem to me that we are running a system and a government where we think the president is the only one who has to work. You would have had hundreds of people working on this document. And what he gets then will be executive summaries with which to work. People he can trust. There are thousands of them all through this country. But what has happened is, we all got visited. Ministers, we also have to work with people. We all got visited in selecting maybe 36 people out of thousands of Nigerians with competencies and who are ready to work. They would have read these documents. If you wanted summaries of them for each sector, you would have got them. That's what we're talking about.
Do you think that he personally read through the documents himself?
He doesn't have to. That's what I'm saying. He does not have to.
Is that what you're implying? That's what I'm saying.
Why we have not moved as fast as many Nigerians expected, because change was promised, and the way it was, as I said, they will wake up by May 29. It's a different country. People need to work with the president, and some of these things have to be official appointments, so they have the authority and the power to do those jobs. So if in 3 months we haven't done that, and he didn't promise us a list. He didn't say by September he'll give us a list. He said they would have appointed ministers, not a list. I was shocked. The month was ended, then we started talking of lists. Oh, he will release the list. No, we're talking of ministers working. What is a list? The list has to go through the National Assembly, and they become ministers. He said he will appoint ministers by the end of September.
What about the thinking that people seem to have about their perspective on the ministers in terms of what they do? I read there was this publication by, I think, the Union on 17th of September, wherein the president was talking to France 24, saying, look, ministers don't have much to do. Civil servants, I mean, some of them have been there 20 years, 15 years. They are the experts. So they have a lot of those experience. And so he thinks that, look, these chaps can do this.
I was surprised the president made that statement. Because essentially, it could be the reason why we haven't even appointed ministers. How would you say ministers don't have anything to do?
No, don't have much to do.
He said they are noisemakers. They say something to that effect. First, saying this abroad, and secondly, for us to know that's part of the president's thinking about ministers. So these ministers he's appointing won't also have much to do. But anybody will tell you part of the problem we have with the country is the civil service itself. There's no performance index for them. You can't hold them accountable for anything. But a minister, for example, we can. He's a political appointee, and we say you are implementing the policies either of the party or the president at whose pleasure you serve. So we can hold a minister appointed, not a civil servant. Which of them? The guy bringing up the files, the director, the assistant director, or the permanent secretary? No.
Let's take an example. Security.
Yes.
He campaigned vigorously on that premise and said, look, he was going to do a lot about it. And he came into power. He spoke about it in his speech, how he's able to rally support within the country, Lake Chad Basin Commission, the African Union, the G7, trying to get the world to be on the same page with us on this one. And he says we're getting results, aren't we?
When we look at security, unfortunately, what we think security is that Boko Haram or whoever is out of the country. But part of the security also is that your people are occupied, they're engaged. If someone wants to recruit them for that purpose, you can't recruit them. So it's not just getting them out. That's one side. The second side also in that speech is a poor analysis of the effort that has been made. If you are fighting an enemy and you are getting the enemy out of the way and you say the enemy is weak and he's able to sabotage you internally, including in camps where you are keeping people who are displaced, there's still a big problem. If people who are displaced are in the city and they are still and the same enemy is able for some reason to get in there and harm them, it's a big problem.
You use the word sabotage. Many will say, look, the countries that have been fighting terrorism for a long time, they experience these kind of scenarios because it isn't conventional. And so he says they've been able to rally a lot of people. He's given that marching order.
No, he gave that. But what I'm saying is sometimes we underrate what we are dealing with. You know, I'm not interested in people telling me, whether in 2 months or 3 months we get out of this problem. Suppose we don't. Let's get out of the problem.
No, I'm asking, are we making some progress or not? Because, I mean, people
there's
have
a lot of media reporting of what...
No progress whatsoever.
No, if you measure by what we hear in the media, then you say we are making progress.
No,
but if you see how the enemy reacts, then it also keep you thinking that there's a lot more work to be done. My own attitude is, let's go on with what is going with this war, whether you call it war or trying to stop terrorism going on. But that part of the country also needs to be developed. And for you to do that, it doesn't take the thinking of one person. And that's where the issue of this minister thing comes up. Appointing ministers, and then other appointments that have to be made. So we have a government running. A full government cannot run without ministers. And for us to have done that for 3 months is something that nobody should explain. And it will go on for up to 4 months, because this screening will go through the National Assembly. Then we'll complete the list.
No, they don't have to complete it before they approve this.
No, they can approve it. Then that means there will still be 15 other appointments as ministers that won't have. Do you understand that?
That will come.
And we've never had that also. Maybe that's part of change. Normally, we would have had the full complement of ministers going on, unless when you are doing reshufflements and so on. Not this piecemeal.
What if they're merging ministries?
Then he shouldn't be telling us he's sending 15 now. Whatever he's doing, he should send the names. You know why that is also important? If we are considering 21 he has sent now, on what basis will we become? There is politics involved in all this. Competence is probably one of the least considerations. You are considering the 21 he has sent. Then there are some other 15 he will send who you do not know who they are. You confirm these ones, then he appoints them. You know, so that loophole shouldn't also have been created. And I don't know the explanation for that, but I don't think it should have been.